program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Hello, party people. Welcome inside a Tuesday episode of Running Point on ysnlive.com. As always, brought to you by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. They go the extra mile for you. We try to do the same here on Running Point and at YSN every single day. We thank them for their wonderful sponsorship of not this show, but everything that you see on YSN. Greenwood is a big reason for it, and we always want to start the show by thanking our wonderful sponsors at Greenwood. With that being said, we have a big show for you today. We have two interviews that we're going to let you hear, one with Laura McCoy from Garfield and another one from Alyssa Masucci from Howland. One senior, one junior, although it feels like Alyssa Masucci should be a senior by now. But nope. You still got one more year of her after this one. She's a junior. So the AAC's gotta keep dealing with the Such, and we'll hear from her and Laura McCoy a little bit later on in the show. Excited to let you guys hear those two interviews. They're both really good athletes, really good interviews. Can't wait to let you hear them. But first and foremost, as always, we gotta take a little rewind and recap the night that was. A little bit of a slower Monday than usual with it being a holiday, but we still had games and final scores come in. We will start with the MLK tournament continuing down in Ursuline. It was the consolation game between Liberty and the Academy of Urban Scholars. Liberty able to get the win in this one, 53-31, a bounce back after their loss to JFK yesterday. Then in the next game down there, it was the girls' action as the Irish beat Cheney 53-15. Ursuline keeps on rolling. They've only lost one game in the last couple weeks, so Ursuline girls are really starting to stride at the right time. And then on the boys' side of that MLK tournament, the winners' game, it was all Ursuline, 88-60. That is their biggest offensive performance of the season, 88 points. Terrence Pankey led the way with 24 for them, so you look at that, and Pankey and then Gino Lucente and Flauto all combined for 54 of their 88 points. So all three of them had a really good day for Ursuline. Flauto had 22. He hit 5 threes, and then Lucente had 16. So a good day for those three for the Ursuline Irish offense. Lisbon girls fell to St. Thomas Aquinas 54-47. Tough one for the Blue Devils. It was a close game. They gave it a heck of a fight, but in the end they fell to Aquinas. A thriller. Noah Ricks got to call one of the best games we've had on the network yet. A triple overtime game in Warren JFK between them and Matthews. And eventually Matthews just had a really explosive third overtime. They were able to win 66-57. But what a marathon of a game. After the third one, I was texting Noah Ricks, and I was like, hey, you might be doing 2 games tonight, just by the fact that you're doing extra overtimes. But, thankfully for him, it had some mercy, and it ended. He was able to take a little bit of a deep breath. But what a game. What an effort by both teams. Once again, Matthews pulls out the win in that triple overtime thriller. 66-57 over JFK. How about Liberty on the girls' side? Demi Watson and Aaliyah Foster combined for 51 points as the Leopards hold off Struthers 53-50. I talked about this game yesterday, and I told you both sides of the coin, Liberty and Struthers, kind of a win-win because if you don't win the game, then it doesn't really hurt you too much as far as your conference goals, and everyone gets into the tournament, of course, so you're going to be fine when you talk about postseason. But when you win, it's a big momentum boost. So it's a little bit of a win-win because if you lose, you learn a lot about yourselves. You tried some things, you get a little bit of a scouting report, and it doesn't really hurt you all that much to lose that game as far as their goals are concerned. But for Liberty, a team that has been wavering a little bit, this came off that loss to Crestview. This is a big one, taking a little bit of a step up, playing Division II Struthers and getting the 53-50 win. Big win for Liberty, and it was at home too, so they were able to protect their home floor against the Wildcats. Once again, Demi Watson, Aaliyah Foster, I think they're a little bit under the radar this year. I think people have forgotten how good of basketball players those two are because of the fact that the MVAC is so stacked and Liberty is sitting in second place right now. Don't forget how much of a problem Demi Watson and Aaliyah Foster are when you're trying to guard Liberty. It's no joke, not at all. East girls got the win 61-21 over Valley Christian. A little bit of a bounce back for East as they fell over the weekend. So it's good to see the Golden Bears back in full stride. We saw McDonald get the win over Heartland Christian 54-27. And then the game I was at that I can talk a little bit about, Western Reserve gets the win over Columbiana 54-41. This is a game where Columbiana came out and executed a great offensive game plan, got open shooters, was able to knock down shots. They were on fire in the first half up until about 2 minutes left in the second quarter. That's when Western Reserve seemed to take control of this game. And it was while they were down. Columbiana took a 25-21 lead. It looked like they were getting all the momentum, but then Western Reserve flipped a little bit of a switch. They ended the first half on an 8-0 run and then just kept going after that. And even though Columbiana stayed aggressive, stayed shooting, stayed confident, which I told Coach Krisman after the game, I said that was pretty impressive that your girls were able to keep being aggressive and keep being confident and putting shots up. But they just weren't falling at the rate they were in the first half anymore. And Western Reserve's offense looks really different than it did the first half of the season. We've talked about it at length. We asked Brooke Shantz about it. We've asked Steve Miller about it. Everyone's just a little bit more confident in their abilities right now as a scorer. They were always a good defense, always holding people down. But you look at this offensive output, 54, and you look at the balance. They had 3 players in double figures, and then Lindsey Jones had 8. So you had 4 players that really contributed a lot of offense. When you talk about Olivia Hughes, Olivia Hughes with 15, Brooke Shantz with 12, Madison Leone with 11, and then Lindsey Jones with 8. And there are nights where Lisa Eicher can get into that scoring tab as well. Last night wasn't her night, but that does not mean that she can't go out and score. So I think at that rate, you have 5 girls that can really hurt you if things continue like that for Western Reserve. So I would watch out for them in that second half of the MPAC. I'm really impressed with Reserve's offensive confidence. And I'm also was really impressed with, honestly, Columbiana's confidence on offense and their aggressiveness to go after a Western Reserve team on the road and be in attack mode the whole time. And even when they were down, just in attack mode, they never really got tentative. Sometimes when teams give up an 8-0 run or a 10-0 run, you start to see them get a little bit passive, a little bit more timid because they don't want to make a mistake and they want to stop that run. But for some reason, their mental state thinks the way to stop that run is just to avoid mistakes at all costs. When in reality, the way you stop big runs and the way you regain momentum is you just stay aggressive. And Columbiana did a really good job of that, staying aggressive on both sides. They were really extending that zone on the defense, and they never stopped shooting on offense. Unfortunately for the Clippers, the shooting percentage just went away a little bit in the second half. And when you put that with the fact that Western Reserve had a pretty good offensive night, it's not a recipe for success. But it wasn't for a lack of shooting for Columbia, and I was really impressed with them. And they could make some noise in the EOAC if they play like that going forward. A couple more scores for you from last night. Mineral Ridge was able to sneak out a win against LeBray at home, 46-45. Olivia Booth led them with 16. Ava Hewlett had 15, so it was a good night for the both of them as they were able to just barely beat LeBray, 46-45. Crestview had no problem with Hubbard, which was, once again, I talked about this yesterday, a step up in division, but no problems at all. 50-26, they beat the Eagles. The Mooney girls traveled to Southeast. This is the last score of the night, and they fell to Southeast 43-39 was your final score there for that one. So those are your final scores for the night yesterday. It was a great night of basketball. Like I said, a little bit slower than most Mondays because of the holiday, but we still had some teams go out and get some action in. It really was, for the girls' side, it was teams that weren't in action over the weekend. And for the boys' side, you didn't see a lot of teams that were in action on Saturday either. But it continued that trend that I talked about yesterday. A couple of teams playing 2 games in 2 days with that Martin Luther King tournament in Ursuline, which was a great thing. They had several speakers come and talk between games, and Coach Gunther talked about it afterwards and just said how much he hopes that the whole event was a positive impact, and not just his team's lives outside of the basketball court, but everyone that was there, which is definitely the goal of an event like that. So props to Ursuline for putting that on. I believe it was the 3rd year of that, and they'll continue to do that, continue to succeed with that in the future of every Martin Luther King Day, every Martin Luther King weekend. So we can't wait for what the future of that event holds, and Ursuline looks like they are on a run. Like I said, that was their biggest offensive output of the season with 88 points. They have another test on Friday. Austintown Fitch comes to Ursuline. And that Fitch team's riding high. So we'll see how that goes. But before any of that, we're going to get to our interviews. We're going to start with Laura McCoy, the senior from Garfield, and we'll play her interview with you here. Be back in a bit. We hope you enjoy this conversation with Laura McCoy from Garfield. Anthony Harwig here with a Garrettsville Garfield girls basketball player profile. I am joined by Laura McCoy, one of the senior leaders of this Garfield team. Laura, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so you come in to this season, and I guess the first question we have to ask you about is the most recent accomplishment, 1,000 points in your career. You just got it. You came into that night needing 7. You got 7 on the dot. What did it feel like to kind of finally have that relief and finally be able to say that you're a member of the 1,000-point club?
That's definitely like a huge accomplishment I've wanted to be getting. It felt great to be surrounded with the team and the coaches that are always like really happy for me. Yeah, just the environment that this Garfield team has, it just brings a lot of great vibes, and yeah, I'm just really thankful for everyone. So yeah.
You've obviously worked really hard at getting that goal. And you've been through a lot. When you think about all the stuff that you've been through and you think about, reaching that, was that moment, did that let you get a little bit reflective a little bit and kind of think about all the stuff that you've kind of worked towards and all the stuff that you've gone through?
Yeah, it really did. I wanted to cry, honestly, when I hit it. Yeah, just a huge accomplishment. And yeah, I'm proud of myself for constantly putting in the work, proud of the coaches around me that have helped me get to where I am. And yeah.
Now, everyone wants to do that at home. Unfortunately, you didn't on the road, but the good news is that they're going to have a little bit of a celebration for you when you come back home, your next home game. So what's it going to mean to be back with your fans, next Thursday against Camel, and to be able to kind of celebrate with all the people that maybe couldn't have been there in your road game where you got it?
It's going to feel great. The fans that Garfield has, they're always happy for anyone, and I know they're going to be happy for me. And I'm just glad that that's the environment that I'm going to be celebrating in.
What's it been like to be embraced by that community? I mean, obviously you come into the school and you're a newbie to the community and the support they get, and they have just put their arms around you like you've been there forever. What's that been like from your perspective?
It's just been great. I'm not going to lie, like moving a school year, senior year is obviously hard. I'm sure everyone can understand that, but I'm just grateful that like everyone on this team we really just meshed together. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad that my teammates have supported me through everything, and they're always happy for me, and the coaches as well. I can't tell you how thankful I am for the coaches that have been there for me. They know it's been tough, but I'm just glad that this is the team I've ended up with my senior year, and I wouldn't want it to be any other team. So.
I want to talk about that meshing that you brought up because it's really hard to mesh with a team out of nowhere. What do you think have been the biggest keys to just instantly feeling like you've played with these girls for your whole career?
Just the fact that a lot of us are like really alike, like athletic girls. We're sports girls, play sports. Yeah, we're all just really similar, and we really care about the sport, like put our heart out there. And that's just really what brings us all together. And the coaches, they push us, and we all respect the way that they push us. And I just feel like that has a lot to do with it.
Obviously, you've had to get to know this team a lot in a short amount of time. Who do you think you've gotten to know the most throughout this year and this season so far?
I'd have to say between Madeline Shirkey and Mandy Cardinal. I work out a lot with Mandy, actually, but Shirkey, she just brings a different type of energy to the floor. You know, we always got each other on an and one. We always get hyped for each other. And just the way that we play, it really meshes. And yeah, I'd probably have to say Madeline Shirkey. I just love the way she supports everyone on the team. And yeah.
Here you are, 11-1 in the season, 12-1 after the win yesterday. A lot of people before the season started looked at Garfield, looked at what they lost last year with Jenna Smith and the Seaman twins. What did it mean to kind of, come into this season with maybe low expectations per se, and to just prove some people wrong?
It feels great to prove people wrong always. Yeah. This Garfield team last year was really good. We have a lot to live up to, but it's just in the end, like having fun with each other. We all want to win, being pushed, and just having trust in each other, knowing what all of us can do. And it's just, yeah, we all love playing with each other. So.
You brought up Coach Gilbert a couple of times in answers before. What has he meant to you this season? And what has this coaching staff meant to you and your ability to kind of play loose and to be able to enjoy your senior season?
Just huge. During soccer season this past year, Gilbert was obviously my coach, and he knows it's been hard for me, like moving schools my senior year. And he's just like been there for me every step of the way. Like when I hit my 1,000 points, he was there for me, had surprises for me, and even like some of my teammates, like their parents, like they've had things for me like after I hit my 1,000. And special shout out to Taylor Smith, the assistant coach. She has really had a huge impact on me. Just knows when I'm going through something, knows always what to say, how to calm me down, and constantly just like pushing me to be better, like no matter what. Like everyone can always improve on something, no matter how good the player is. And she really understands that. And Coach Gilbert, too. He just, honestly, best coach I've ever had. He really knows his stuff and knows how to coach a team. And these coaches are like truly there for their players. Like they really care about their players. And I feel like that is what makes this team so enjoyable, because they're always there for their players and always knowing like what to do, how to push each and every one of us. And yeah, all these coaches have had a huge impact on me.
One of the most important parts about being a senior is how you leave the program and how you build the future of it. What do you think this senior class is doing to kind of build up the future of Garfield after they leave, and to make sure that the program and the standard stays where it's at with the younger players that will be back next year?
Just like showing good leadership. Like, for example, yesterday's game against Springfield, trailing by 11. Us seniors, we just had to step it up, like show like no matter how much you're down by, always putting in full effort, and just being respectful to everyone and always pushing each other. I feel like that has a huge impact on the younger players that are going to be seniors. So
All right, so we've gotten to know you on the floor. You're obviously a student athlete. I want to get to know the student part a little bit too. Who are some teachers that you've gotten to know in this year at Garfield, and some subjects that you've really liked to be able to learn about?
Well, actually, I only go to school for one period.
Well, that's awesome.
Because I already have all my credits, but yeah, I didn't really get to know like any of the teachers since I'm only there for one period. My only teacher is Mr. Longenecker. So yeah, that's about it. He's
Okay,
asked about
so
the team a few times, so yeah.
what are some of the subjects that you've liked to learn about in your high school career, and some of your favorite things that you have learned?
My favorite subject has always been probably algebra. That's been my favorite subject. And probably my best one is probably like English or reading. So yeah.
All right, so it's a unique thing. Your credits are set. You only need one class. How do you spend the day? How do you keep yourself active and try to make sure you're staying in a mental routine like your teammates are able to do when they go to class all the time?
After my first period, I usually go work out, like get a lift in or just get my work done right away. And then obviously, like I try not to lay around all day. Usually go out, get food, whatever. And then I practice at usually 3 o'clock every day. So yeah.
When you think about the future and goals that you want to see yourself and maybe major and career that you want to be in, what are some things that pop into your head?
I'm going to be majoring in nursing at Baldwin Wallace. I haven't fully committed yet, but that's where I'm going to be going for basketball. Yeah, I'm going to be majoring in nursing so far.
All right, so what was one of the things that made that decision that that's where you wanted to go pretty easy, and that program's where you wanted to play at the next level?
Well, when I visited there, I really just loved the campus, and the coaches had been watching me for a couple years, like with travel basketball and everything. And they just really like set a good vibe. Kind of like they're really similar to the coaches I have now at Garfield. And I met the players. I've been up there a few times and been to their practice, been to their games, and it just seems like an environment that I want to like be in, spend my college career in, and I'm really excited for it.
What excites you the most about moving away from home and moving into a college campus and kind of being on your own a little bit?
Just like taking on that responsibility. I'm really excited for that. I've always wanted to go to college, like be in a dorm. That's just always been something I want to do, and I'm really excited to take that on with the Baldwin Wallace team because they seem a lot like me, really similar, and I'm just really excited.
On the flip side, what makes you the most nervous about living on your own and being away from home?
Well, considering the fact that I've never done that, it is kind of nerve wracking. I'm definitely gonna miss home, miss the family around me, and yeah.
What's one life skill that maybe you're gonna have to struggle on learning how to do by yourself that maybe your parents did a lot for you growing up that you have to kind of figure out how to do by yourself?
Getting a job. I've never really had like an actual job, so I'm definitely gonna have to adjust to that. And yeah, that's probably it.
Obviously, you talked about it before. You play AAU basketball as well as high school. How much does that help your career and help you kind of sharpen your tools and really expose yourself to high level basketball players, one playing with and playing against as well?
It's definitely made me a better player. Like in AAU, like I wasn't a huge scorer like I am in high school basketball, and that really taught me a lot. Like scoring isn't everything. I know a lot of people always look at the points, but it's really not everything, you know. AAU taught me to be like a good teammate, and it actually helped me be a lot better on defense too. Like that was like a lot like a main part of my thing in AAU, like focusing on defense and just meeting a lot of new people. The AAU team I had played with them for 3 years, and they're just lifelong friends at this point. And I'm just really grateful for the coaches I had in AAU as well to put me where I am today.
All right, senior year, you're almost halfway through the season. Actually, you are halfway through the season. It's really snuck up on us. How are you going to handle all these emotions of the last, like the senior night and the last home game, last time you play, a certain team? How have you handled all these last and the emotions that senior year can bring?
Yeah, I actually have been thinking about that a lot. And honestly, when I think about it, I get teary eyed. And it's just like, wow, I remember just being a freshman. And just like, you only have so long in high school. And I'm glad that I know moving my senior year was like a huge thing. But like I said, you only have so long to enjoy the time that you have in high school. And I feel like it's the best decision I ever made moving here my senior year, getting to play soccer here and getting to play with the team that Garfield has. And just the friends that I've met, the people I've met, it just feels like I've known them like my whole high school, and it's going to be hard to let them go. Yeah, it's just always sad being a senior.
All right, what is your favorite pregame routine that you have to stick to before a game?
Um, Pre-game routine. I usually get pulp before every game. Get a smoothie, and then just like mentally preparing myself for every game. I used to get upset if like I missed a shot or not doing my best, but just having fun and basketball it's a long game. You can't waste your time being upset about a shot you missed or anything. And just being confident in myself is something I've really improved on.
Do you have any game day superstitions?
um, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes we'll just be joking around like, oh, we can't lose this game, or just saying stuff like that. And it's just, I'll be like, oh my God, knock on wood, like somebody knock on wood. And that's about it.
Well, I say I was that because I know your coach wore the same yellow pullover until the one time you lost. So I thought maybe some superstition rubbed off. We know Coach Gilbert well. What's one thing about Coach Gilbert that people don't know that you'd like to tell people now in this interview?
Just the way he runs his practices, it's honestly one of the best practices I've ever been to in my life. Never lets us take it easy, always pushing us, which I feel like is what separates us from a lot of teams in this league. Just constantly pushing us, constantly telling us things we can improve on. And he's just such a great guy. Getting to know him outside of being a coach, he's just a great person. Like when we have team bonding or whatever, like outside of practice, outside of being a coach, like it's great to see with him always.
All right, Laura, thank you so much for joining us. But before we let you go, I do want to give you the chance to shout out your support system, all the people that have been supporting you throughout your whole career, and what they mean to you, and what they've meant, what their support has meant to you.
Just my family, honestly, like respecting every decision I've made, being there every step of the way. This Garfield team, these Garfield coaches, just constantly being there for me. And I couldn't ask for a better situation to be in my senior year. And yeah, definitely just the people that have been there for me.
All right, Laura, thank you so much for the time. Congratulations on everything you've accomplished so far. We know there's still more to get done this senior season. We wish you the best of luck going forward, and we look forward to talking to you again real soon.
All right. Thank you.
That was Laura McCoy, senior leader of Garfield, and they are having a really great season so far, sitting at a tie right now in the top of the MVAC with Brookfield and Crestview, all those teams with just one loss in the conference, and they all have to play each other at least one more time. We'll see if they meet each other in the tournament at all Division III as well. So they could play each other two more times, but when the conference is at hand, one more time when you talk about the conference. Laura, 1,000-point scorer, just got that in LeBray last week. She needed 7. She got 7, and I talked about it a little bit. She walked into that game. I think everyone in that gym particularly definitely knew what was going on and knew kind of what the circumstances were. And LeBray did everything they possibly could to try to make it so she did not get 1,000 on that floor. Defensively, they double teamed her. They face guarded her. They did everything on defense that they could to make sure that she wasn't going to get that milestone on their floor. They had a lot of pride, and she needed 7. She got 7 on the dot. but she bounced back in the next game. I think she scored 16 against Springfield. So right back to scoring. She scores a lot. We saw her drop 32 again in the South Range Holiday Hoops Classic against Nordonia. So we definitely know that she can go off at any point in time. And that's one of the things that makes Garfield really special. One of the other things that makes Garfield special, though, is they have a couple of players that can pick it up, too, when she's not scoring. And Madeline Shirky, Nora Trent, Mandy Cardinal, of course. So they have a lot of different ways to beat Ian Garfield. And as I told her in that interview, not particularly what people expected coming into the season. You look at that team last year, Jenna Smith, Cindy and Sarah Seaman. Okay, they lose those girls. Where's their offense going to come from, right? And those three probably made up 85% of the lady team in offense. Where's that going to go? Well, here comes Laura McCoy. Here comes Mandy Cardinal, a freshman. Madeline Shirky steps up and scores a lot more. Nora Trent steps up, scores a little bit more. There you go. Boom. Click right there. There's the offense, and Garfield's actually having a better season so far this year, record-wise, than they had last year. We'll see how far they can go. That team last year won a district and went to the regional semifinals, lost to Warrensville Heights. This district's going to be tough. Poland's in it now. You got all those MVAC teams. The region is ridiculous. The top 4 teams in the state, ranking-wise, according like the RPI computer ranking-wise, top 4 teams in the state are all in that region, with Warrensville Heights, Smithville, Waynedale, and of course Shaker Heights Laurel, who one of the best teams in the entire state across all divisions so far this year in Laurel. They have, I think, the second toughest schedule of anybody across any division, and they are 10-3 the last time I checked. So Laurel's no joke. They were in the Classic in the country. I don't know if they won their game over the weekend. They played a nationally ranked team over the weekend at the Classic in the country in Highland. So definitely interested to kind of go and see what that score was. But Laurel, that region is ridiculous coming out of it. And then you're going to have someone come out of our district. What is it? Our 1 and 2, Northeast 1 and 2. So someone's going to come out of those two, and then the 3 and 4, ridiculous. Only 2 teams can come out of those 4, because they're all in the same kind of district. So that's going to be a fun bracket to watch on the other side of that Cuyahoga Heights region in Division 3. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to hear from Alyssa Masucci Jr. from Howland and talk about another just all-star basketball player that is putting on a really good season in Alyssa Masucci. Can't wait for you guys to hear her interview and what she had to say about the season that she is having. That's coming up next on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
21 News delivers the news as it happens, using the latest technology from where it happens.
Live here outside the Mahoney County.
On air, online,
Wednesday afternoon weather update.
Very dangerous.
and on the 21 News social media platforms.
I'm on the road right now.
21 News, the Valley's only locally owned source for trusted news since 1953.
As fine as the eye can see, the finest hardwoods from the finest trees. Made for your home and within your means, Baird Brothers will help fulfill your dreams. Let life and light come shining through in quiet morns. And heavy traffic, too. Find your easy-to-afford fine hardwood floors and doors and more at BairdBrothers.com.
Every customer has a story, and at Greenwood Chevrolet, we are committed to making sure it ends with you in the right vehicle. I get to be part of somebody's adventure, whether it's buying a car for the first time, helping them get approved, or finding the perfect car for their budget. I'm proud that people trust me with their finances. They trust me to take care of them, and they trust me with their story. I'm Tracy, and I'm ready to go the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com. As always, brought to you again by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin Town. We thank them for their sponsorship of this show in YSN. Anthony Hartwig with you, and we're going to continue this show as we have another pre-recorded interview to play for you. This time we venture into Howland, and we hear from their junior superstar, Alyssa Masucci, about the season that she's putting together and what it's been like for her kind of stepping into a leadership role. Last year as a sophomore, they had a big senior class with 4 seniors that all really contributed really well to that team and led them so well. Didn't really have to be a vocal leader last year. Just kind of got on the floor, did her thing, was kind of one of the under the radar players that could score but wasn't first on everybody's scouting report. Things dramatically changed this year. Now she's the person that everyone says, we have to stop Alyssa Masucci if we want to beat Howland in basketball. And she's also one of the seniority leaders, I should say. She's not a senior, but there are no seniors on that team. So she has seniority in Howland with no seniors on the team. She's one of the oldest girls on the roster. So a great leader, not just statistically, but also energetically and verbally. So we're going to hear from her from Howland. Hope you enjoy this interview with junior from the Tigers, Alyssa Masucci. Anthony Hartwig here with a Howland girls basketball player profile. I am joined by Alyssa Masucci. Alyssa, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
And man, when we watched you on this team, one thing that we know really, really fast is you have taken another step of leadership on this team this year. Obviously, you guys lost a big senior class last year. First question is, what's it been like to kind of take a next step in leadership on this team and really be someone that all the players can kind of look up to and follow?
It's for sure been different. We graduated 4 seniors that started last year, and they had great leadership. And I would just say that I was put into the position where I had to be one of the leaders on this team. And it's important that I fill that role and help my team win games.
Obviously, it wasn't any surprise that you were going to be one of those people with, you knew they were seniors, you knew it was going to happen. So what kind of things did you do to kind of prepare yourself for stepping up in the leadership role this year?
Just being more positive with my teammates and making sure that we're all on the same page and we all work together as a team.
How much did last year's seniors really teach you about leadership and help you become the leader that you are now?
They've taught me a lot, and I really looked up to them, and that's how I want the freshmen and sophomores this year to look up to us as juniors.
Now, as far as the stats go, you've always been a statistical leader on this team. Scoring has never been a problem. What do you think has worked so well for you in this program and being able to put up the numbers that you're able to put up?
Just being more confident in myself. Like the seniors last year, they gave me a lot of confidence going into this year, and just how great of teammates that I have.
How much have you seen the confidence of your teammates kind of grow this year? I know there's a lot of new faces on this varsity team, a lot of players in new roles. How much have you seen their confidence grow with yours?
They've grown a lot, and I feel like we just work so good as a team, and that's going to help us finish this year and off to next year.
And, you've been around so long and people forget that you're not even a senior yet. You're only a junior class of 24. What kind of things are you continuing to work on as you head into your high school career and you know that you have another year to get better? What kind of things were on your checklist this year of things that you wanted to get better at?
I'd say just getting better each and every game. My dad is always telling me, no matter what the game, like if we won or we lost, there's always something you can improve on.
Your dad is not the only part of your family that you can lean on because you have a great athletic family. What's that been like growing up with athletes in the household and being able to lean on your brother and the other members of your family to kind of guide you in your athletic career?
Both of my brothers, my parents, they've all taught me a lot just to really step into the role of becoming an athlete, and they always push me to become a better player in person, and that's how I got myself today, just becoming a better person and player every day.
Okay, so we've talked about your personal goals that you've had for yourself this year. What about some team goals that this team has set? I know we're about the halfway mark, and a lot of things can really propel you guys forward into February. What were some team goals that you guys have this year?
Our team goals is to just get better each and every game, to push each other at practice, and to go as far as we can into the tournament.
And you're led by a really highly respected coach and Coach Pounds. I mean, what's that been like to be under him for the last couple of years? What has he taught you, not just about basketball, but about yourself?
He's very positive with us, and he's always pushing us at practice to be better basketball players, and not even just basketball players. Off the court, he's always telling us to keep our grades up and to push ourselves. One day when we get into the workforce, we're going to have to work as a team, and that's how in basketball we work as a team as well.
Let's talk about those grades. You're a student athlete. We talked about the athlete. Let's talk about the student. What are some of your favorite subjects that you have in school?
I honestly like all subjects at school. I take CCP classes as well, so always busy.
Always busy. You're also a three-sport athlete. You fall, winter, and spring. What's that like, managing everything and always keeping yourself busy and mentally transitioning from one sport to the next?
I just always like being busy, and I just like to go from sport to sport, and it just keeps me busy.
Is basketball the go-to? Is it your favorite sport?
I'd have to say softball is probably my favorite sport, but I really love basketball, and I enjoy playing volleyball as well.
All right, so all three of those sports, what's the best feeling? Is it a kill? Is it a three-point shot maybe, or maybe a home run, or maybe a big out? What do you think of the best feeling in your three sports is?
I'd say for softball, definitely a grand slam. I hit one this past summer, and it was really fun. And I'd say just hitting like a three-pointer, just doing anything for my team to get the win.
You guys get so much support in Howland. What's that like to know that the community always has your back and you're always going to get really good fan support at your games?
It means a lot, just the support we have at Howland, just knowing that people will be at the games and they'll be cheering for us.
Okay, now you've had a lot of big moments in your athletic career. What do you think the loudest you've ever made a crowd is?
I have to say, just like the AAC games, those games are always good competition, and they're coached well, and there's great players on those teams, and I feel like those games are always fun to play.
Do you have a favorite athletic memory so far that you've built up in your career?
I would say probably the playing at the Cavs arena last month. It was really fun. I really enjoyed it with my teammates, and I'll never forget that moment.
When you think about the memories that you make with your teams off the floor, I know every team has their own team bonding exercises that they do. What are some of your favorite team bonding exercises that you're able to do with the Tigers?
We actually did a lock-in for basketball. We spent the night in the gym on air mattresses, and it was just a really fun experience, and it was a really good bonding for our team.
We've talked about the new faces a lot already. Who are some players that you've really got to know pretty well this year that are kind of new to the program or new to the varsity role?
I'd say we have a really good bond with the juniors, but also the sophomores, Sophia, Riley, and Emily, they've really stepped into the roles because we are still a young team. We don't have any seniors, so just them stepping in is great, and the juniors as well. We're very close, and we really have a good bond.
Not a lot of teams get to go through a year with no seniors. So what's it like knowing that everyone on this team is coming back next year and everything that you go through this year is going to kind of be a building block to what you can do next year as well?
It's really nice just to know that these are all just building blocks for next year. Like, we want to get better each game, but we know that next year it's going to be our year.
Do you think that takes any pressure off of this season? I know, like a lot of teams, if they have a lot of seniors or if they have really talented seniors, there's almost a little bit of a pressure to win for them. Obviously, everyone wants to win, but there's not that like pressure of a finality in your team. There's no seniors that you have to kind of give a last hurrah to.
We still really want to finish the season off strong, and we want to get as far as we can in the tournament. But just knowing that everyone will be back next year, it's just a good feeling.
All right, so obviously, youth programs are important to the Tigers as well. I know you guys do a lot with the 7th and 8th grade team, and even the younger players in your program. What kind of things do you guys do to make sure that the program is going to be solidified and keep growing in the next years with the youth players?
We have little kid camps, and it's always important that we go to them, just because the little kids, they look up to us.
With all the success that you have to have some of those little girls that look up to you. What's that like to know that you're a role model and know that maybe a 5th grader is watching you play right now saying, I want to be like Alyssa Masucci when I get onto the high school scene?
It feels great just knowing that they can look up to us and just knowing that that's going to be them one day.
Do you ever have one of those moments that like it's a reality that you are looked up to and you do have to carry yourself as if people are watching you?
Yes, I just try to lead by example and play as hard as I can all the time.
All right. Biggest change in your game. What do you think is the biggest change from freshman Alyssa to now?
I would say just confidence, just being more vocal. I'm not the most vocal person on the court, but I try to lead by example and just push myself to get better every day.
All right, here's another question for you because we know that athletes' numbers are important to them. Are there any particular reason you've chosen the number that you wear, or is it just kind of luck of the draw?
My brothers used to be number 4 when they were younger, and I kind of just stuck with it. They changed their numbers in high school, but I just stuck with the number 4, and I'm also a 4 for softball and volleyball, so just kind of stuck with it.
Keeping that tradition alive. I like it. What do you think the best advice your brothers have given you? We talked about how much they've helped you grow. If you had to pinpoint one piece of advice that one of them have given you over your career, what do you think the best one they've given you is?
I would say just to always push yourself to become better. And my oldest brother, Michael, he's always pushing me in the gym. I started lifting with him 8th grade year during the summer. And my brother Anthony, he's always pushing me as well. Just each and every game I sit down and talk to them, whether it's on the phone because they're at college, and just think of something that I can do better to improve for the next game.
As motivational as they are, I know there's got to be some family competition going on. That the way too competitive to not be having some competition. What do you think is one thing that you could beat your brothers at?
I think I could beat them in ping pong. We have a ping pong in the basement, and I always beat my brothers in it.
Awesome. That's it. What is one thing that you've tried to beat them at, but it's just not happening yet?
1-1 in basketball, just outside. It's always a competition, but next year.
Next year. What is your favorite thing about being an athlete at Howland and being able to represent those colors and wear Tigers across your chest?
It just means a lot being at Howland. Just the support system, the teachers always come out to the games. My friends come out to the games, family. It's just great.
All right, before we let you go, I'm going to hit you with some rapid fire questions. Try to get to know you a little bit off the court. First question is, what is your favorite post-game meal?
I would say B-dubs, Buffalo Wild Wings.
All right, what about like pre-game? What's the pre-game meal?
My dad usually either gets me like Chick-fil-A or something small before each game.
We know that athletes like to eat healthy, but you got to have a little bit of a sweet tooth.
Yeah.
What's the go-to dessert?
Probably cake or ice cream.
Do you have any athletic superstitions, especially in softball?
Not really. Just giving my all each game.
No, no routines you have to stick to?
Not really. Just,
all right.
Yeah, just playing hard.
That's awesome too.
My level, it just stays the same. I just play hard each game.
What about the playlist? What's your pump up playlist like before a game?
I like the song "Can't Hold Us," but I honestly have a variety of songs I like. I can listen to anything and get pumped up.
Or do you have any guilty pleasure songs that are on your playlist that maybe not be the coolest, but you still rock to them?
Not really. I mean, outside of basketball, I like listening to Morgan Wallen, but
What was the last concert that you attended?
I actually have not been to a concert before.
Okay, so if you had to pick like the first concert that you can go to, what would your first concert want to be?
Morgan Wallen.
There you go. Okay. When you think about some of the your favorite things to do when you're not playing sports, which doesn't happen too often, what are some of your favorite hobbies outside of athletics?
I really enjoy lifting with my brothers and just hanging out with my family and friends.
All right, junior years when you start to think about the future as well. So, what are some career paths that you kind of see yourself going into?
I can see myself going into childhood education because my mom's a kindergarten teacher. So I feel like that might suit me well. And also maybe physical education and even maybe coaching one day.
I was gonna ask, do you have the coaching gene? Can you see yourself as a coach one day?
And
What kind of coaching style do you think Coach Alyssa Masucci would have?
just pushing my players to become just to push them to their full potential.
Who are some of your favorite teams to watch nationally?
The Cavaliers.
What's your favorite sport to watch? We've already talked about softball being your favorite sport to play. What's your favorite sport to go in and be a fan of?
I would say basketball or softball. I really enjoy watching them.
All right, Alyssa, before we let you go, I want to give you the chance to kind of thank your support system and all the people that have been there for you through the years.
I want to say thank you to my mom and dad. My dad's always pushing me to become the best player that I can be. And my mom is always there for me. Both of my brothers for pushing me to become the player that I can be. And my grandpa, both of my grandpas, my Papa Ron, he's always keeping stats for me each and every game. My Papa Joe, he's always at all the games. And definitely my coaches and my teammates and my friends and my Aunt Renee she's always taking pictures at each game. And all of them have made me the person and player I am today.
All right, Alyssa, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. We wish you the best of luck, and we look forward to continuing covering you. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you so much for having me.
You got it. That was Alyssa Masucci from Howland. And what a great junior. And breaking YSN exclusive, Alyssa Masucci is a ping pong prodigy. So if we ever have a ping pong championship at YSN HQ in the future, maybe we should draft Alyssa Masucci. It could be that, or it could just be her brothers aren't that good. I'm gonna bank on the latter though. I'm gonna bank on the one that Alyssa is pretty good at ping pong. Athlete, why not, right? Before we get out of here is where the show is winding down. We want to preview the games that you'll be able to see on the network tonight. It's a busy Tuesday, and it's full of boys basketball. We do have one cancellation. United at Jackson Milton has been canceled. That game is not happening. Other than that, everything is greenlit tonight, and here's where it starts. We have Matt Morrison traveling with Badger to Fairport Harding. 7 o'clock is your tip-off for that one. Noah Ricks is going to be back in his home in Howland as Canfield comes to town at 7 o'clock. Alec Caberna will be in Liberty as Champion comes in. Austintown Fitch hosting out-of-conference matchup in Copley, and Ty Bartel will have the call for you there. LeBray welcomes in Crestview. Larry Scragg on the call. Brookfield will be hosting Garrettsville Garfield, Matt Mayer and Jordan on the call there. Niles will be hosting Girard. Ian O'Brien has been doing a great job holding down Niles, not just this basketball season, but football season as well, becoming the voice of the Dragons. He has another good one tonight. As NE8 leading Girard comes into town, Jefferson will try to keep pace with Girard as they go to Hubbard. Jamie Thompson on the call there. Lisbon will be at Columbiana. Joe Eusebio's got you covered. 7 o'clock tip. Minerva and Heartland Christian. Mark Franken has you covered there. 7 o'clock tip as well. Lakeview welcomes in Poland. Sam, our Lakeview crew, has you covered there. Salem and East Liverpool. Nate Kelly will be with you there from the Potter Fieldhouse, one of the best places to watch basketball in the YSN family. St. Thomas Aquinas goes to Western Reserve. Noah Doty on the call for that non-conference matchup. Struthers travels to South Range as the Raiders are on a 4-game winning streak. The Wildcats will try to cool them off. Valley Christian will go to Lowville tonight. Eric Hughes on the call there. 7 o'clock tip-off for you. Some other games that are happening around the network that won't be on, but you can still go out and support. Spire Institute will be at Edgewood at 6 o'clock. Camel Memorial will be playing Newton Falls, and that will be at Lordstown. Reminder to anyone that is traveling with Camel that Newton Falls right now has some water damage in their gym. They are playing their home game at Lordstown. So that one happening just not at Newton Falls. It is at Lordstown. It is a home game on the in the Newton. It counts as a Newton Falls home game is what I'm trying to get out. Cardinal Mooney will travel to Middle Ridge. East Palestine goes to Edison tonight at 7 o'clock. Latonia will go to Sebring tonight at 7. And then Steubenville Central Catholic travels to Southern at 7 o'clock. Those are the games for you tonight. Head over to ysnlive.com/live for an updated look at our schedule for the night. You can find all the games that you'll be able to watch over there. Once again, ysnlive.com/live. While you're at there, why don't you check out the scores, the live scores? You're watching one game, you want to check out the score of another. Maybe you're watching a conference game and you want to see how the other team right behind you is doing. ysnlive.com/scores has a live updated scoreboard, so you'll be able to check out the score there. And then if you want to see after the games how that game affects the standings, head over to ysnlive.com/standings, where we keep that updated too. All your conference standings for boys and girls basketball are there and updated. So a lot to check out on our website. Make sure you do all that. Enjoy all the games tonight. I almost said tomorrow. I'm going to preview tomorrow's show next. But enjoy all the games tonight on the network. I'll be in South Range for South Range and Struthers. Tomorrow, we have a fun show. It's going to be Wrestling Wednesdays with Gary Altizer. This week, our special guest will be Jake Starkey from South Range. We're going to be able to talk to him before the show and then play his section of Wrestling Wednesday. And then we'll come on and we'll have a live week recap in wrestling from Gary Altizer as well with Wrestling Wednesdays. And then we'll also have Scotty Mincher in the studio. So going to be a fun Wednesday tomorrow from 1 to 2. Make sure you tune into that, and we'll see you then on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood